Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It is Happy Friday.
Yeah, man, it's been a great day.
Let that music go.
Labor Day weekend.
I like that.
It's good. Let's just have you sing it next time. I'm sure.
We'll think about it.
It's all like,
dude,
sensual there, man.
Next time you do that,
part.
you should wait, or you should do it sooner when the music is still playing and like it can drown out your.
It's
Good. No, yeah, because your acapella is amazing.
Dude, I know.
Set my Friday up.
Don't need to tell me, bro.
We have part 2 today. If you're just tuning in and you haven't listened to 18, please do.
Yeah.
Today, episode 19, part 2 of, what's that title we got?
Inside a Guy's Mind. Top dating questions asked from single girls.
And just to be clear, for that entire episode, and then for this one as well, like it's our opinion, our perspective.
Right.
We had someone ask us what makes us think we can answer for all men, and my organic response was, what makes you think we're trying to answer for all men? I don't know why someone would assume we're trying to speak for all men. But just to be clear, no low stress, no negativity out there. But we're just answering from our perspective, our experience.
Right. And inside Will and Eli's mind doesn't have that. That's not that catchy. So I like inside.
I like it. There's a ton of miles in this brain.
That's true.
We've got a ton of friends and some good perspective. And episode 18 went phenomenal. A ton of messages. I've got some. We had additional questions kind of come through, and which is great. It has nothing to do with day one $0, right? And growing a company from the ground up, or leadership, or entrepreneurship, or whatever it may be. But it just sparked through some friends, and we had a couple of patterns, between a couple of people that were all asking similar things. And Eli was like, "Hey, why don't we just use our platform and just knock that out?" And phenomenal podcast, got a ton of traction. People liked it. So, and I'm okay with that. I love day one $0. I love what it represents. I love what we're trying to accomplish. But at the same time, I guess maybe you're at day one $0 of dating.
Dating, yeah, for real.
Or maybe you're bankrupt as shit right
For
now,
real.
just no energy, and maybe some opinions, can flow. And, it does kind of correlate with business, because you do mingle with people that sometimes are in your industry and have similar work schedules, or that's just where you meet people. If it's not online, you're meeting people through networking and different stuff. And
dude, business is dating, period, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
Business is dating, or dating
yes.
is business,
Both.
or both?
Both, yeah. It's relationships.
I guess we're thirsty ass hoes then.
Yeah.
Because we're out there on the grind,
That's
gaining
true.
that business. So I guess
true.
we're thirsty ass hoes.
We're
for
thirsty ass
business.
bros.
Man,
You like that?
witty on a Friday.
That's a t-shirt. We'll put
Dude.
it down. Thirsty ass bros.
Thirsty ass bros.
Yeah, I like it.
Hey, there's some thirsty ass bros out there. I think that's half the problem. Why these chicks are mad.
Yep. We'll have that episode actually coming up next month, right?
I think so. Could be sooner,
Yeah.
could be later. We're networking a little bit. We've got a couple of people in our pipeline that we think could be a really good female perspective. So we might bring a female on to be a guest for the show and answer guy questions, and obviously deal with our banter back and forth. And because we're sitting here in person, if we disagree with her, we can give our colorful perspective. But it should be a lot of fun. So we're looking at a couple of folks for that, and but we want to make sure it's a good perspective and all that. But yeah, man, thirsty ass bros, I like it. Right? Did you write that down?
Yeah, I will. A t-shirt.
No,
We'll
you
get
better.
it.
No,
We'll
no,
get it.
write
We'll
it
get
down.
it. I need
I'm
your
waiting
pen.
for you. You're gonna forget. Why do you need my pen? Oh, that's a vape pen.
Yeah, and you don't have a notebook either, so you got a pen with nothing to write on.
Calling me out.
Thirsty ass bros, got it.
Thirsty ass bros, give me my pen back.
All
It's for my nervous habit.
TAB.
There you go. Appreciate
There we
that.
go.
So, but without further ado, we're gonna dive right into this. Part 1, we covered a ton. Do you want to give a quick review? We're not going to answer any of these questions. But in case you're watching this one and you haven't seen episode 18, Eli, why don't you just cover the questions that we did answer and some of that stuff before we get going?
Yeah, so last week we talked a lot about hooking up, going to his place when the time is right, when the time isn't right, how to get attention, being a nice, put together professional
Are you
girl
reading the questions?
versus, summarizing.
You're doing a terrible
how
job.
how to get, let me get through more than one. Goddamn. How to get attention over all the thirsty assholes that are out there. We hit on rejection. We talked about meeting someone on social media or organically. We talked about cuddling after sex. We talked about a lot. Go back to episode 18. Give that a listen if you haven't heard.
That was a good one. But we're going to get right into episode 19, which is part 2 of 18.
There we go.
We're going to let you run the questions like you did before. We had a couple other questions in addition to, but we'll try to keep it as matter of fact as possible. And phases. Do we need to elaborate on that at all? at the end of today's podcast?
Maybe at the end. Yeah, if we got time, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I got one too. I'll
All right.
remind myself.
Will's got a question too.
No, I got some perspective.
There
for
you go.
girls to
I
maybe
like
shed
that.
some
We'll
light on.
summarize with that perspective. How about that?
Appreciate that.
All right. So this one is a little bit out of the norm from the other questions because this one is actually in relation to long-term relationships versus dating. So why do guys stop putting effort into long-term relationships?
I'm trying to think if that's long. Like, I'm trying to figure out what long term is, or I'm trying to see. So there's twofold. Why do guys stop putting effort in toward long term relationships? As in, they don't even try to pursue that long term relationship, or when they've been in a long term relationship,
Right there.
they're not putting it. Oh, I think it's both.
Well,
I think it's both.
And like you talked about last time, like holding the door open, continuing to do those things. So Will and I are both in long-term relationships. So I think we're
Easy, devil.
we're the best ones to be answering this question. So as far as effort,
Fat, I promise I can explain.
this is
You're my only one.
I know. I'm assuming. As far as effort, this is something that I've been trying to do a lot more, like kind of introspective thinking on lately, right? Because it is super easy. I'm in a 10-year relationship, and it is super easy to get caught up in just going about day-to-day life and become, homies with that person so close that you stop opening the door and you stop doing those things.
I think you got to define effort.
Okay.
Like for me, raising a family, right? So like, well, hey, why do you guys stop putting, effort toward a long-term relationship? Like, yeah, of course I get Kate's door and some gentleman things and whatnot, but I also grind my balls off with you from like, super early morning until as late as it has to go. This summer hasn't been too late for us as much as it was last summer. You and I were 9, 10 p.m. every night. We were out there doing it, and this year a little bit more manageable, as in we got better at going home, but we were still working. There was still stuff that we were just choosing to go home and do it separately versus you and I vibing in the office. But when you and I were first growing a business together, you kind of have to have that time spent.
You have to.
Now that I know what you expect or what you're looking for and vice versa, now we can spend more time at home and get the work done separately, and see some of our families. But, see some of our families, see our family. Jesus Christ, man, this is not going to go well.
I know what you
and
meant.
we're only a couple minutes in. I'm waiting for these messages of like, Will's got a sicker family. Fat, I can explain, I promise.
Well, I
think defining effort.
Yes.
Like, and I'm not a big book reader with a lot of cliche things. I do think like 5 languages of love.
The 5 love languages.
The 5 love languages, like I do like that because it just, even if all you get from that book is understanding that there's different ways of giving and receiving love, and the way you give it isn't necessarily the way you receive it, and the way someone gives you love isn't the way that they also receive it. Like there's just some disconnects there. And I think just defining like, what do you mean by effort? Because if you're in a long-term relationship and you guys are trying to grow your future, whatever it may be, and he's working day in and day out, and like, yeah, maybe he's not as romantic, or maybe he doesn't get it up every night because he's fucking tired. I don't know. You can kind of go as elaborate or as off the chain as you want to on this, but he might be showing his care and his love by providing, and or maybe you're a strong, independent woman. You don't need his money. That has nothing to do with how a guy feels he still needs to provide. Literally nothing. However much money you make and how independent as a woman you are, awesome. Some guys are okay with it. Some guys get insecure about it. I get it. Either way, men still have this thing in them, good men, that feel that they at least have to contribute and provide, and they might out be doing that. Now, that's my long version of this question. I think what they're probably saying is the romantic stuff, like doesn't get my door, doesn't get sweet before sex, doesn't buy me things. I mean, you can kind of go as far as you want to, but I think that's where they're going.
I think that's it too. And I think to answer the question is, it's human nature. You get used to shit. You know what I mean? You get used to it and you stop trying as hard. Doesn't mean it's okay, but communication is huge. And then like just coming at that from a very, not angry, not emotional standpoint, and just communicating with your partner why you feel a certain way. For my wife, her request of me was just that I text her a little more throughout the day.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, takes no time. If I send her 2 or 3 more text messages throughout the day, hey babe, thinking about you, hope you and the boy are doing good. When I come home, she mentions that. She's like, hey, thank you. Like, you talked a lot today. Like,
here's what I'm thinking. I always like looking at fat.
You're talking shit about my
No, I'm not talking
you?
shit. Here's what I'm thinking. Every guy listening to this is like, damn, bro, that's all your wife needs from you? It's just a text message throughout the day? Where are those women? You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I can already like just feel some of that banter of it's like as easy as, oh, that's all your wife. Well, if every girl was like that, so there's more to it.
And of course,
just
and I mean, in addition to all the other shit that I do, right? In addition to all the other shit that I do. But here's the thing, though. It's really a lot of times one or two little easy things that you could do for her that does make her feel loved, and she will feel that romance.
Health and fitness, right? Like there's a couple of little things you can do with your diet, and if you do them consistently, you get astronomical results. Same thing with the gym.
Yep.
My biggest thing, man, is the conversation I have with young bucks sometimes with liking someone versus loving someone. Of course, I love Kate. I like her too. And there's a difference here.
Right.
Like she's the homie. Right? She probably doesn't want me to call her that. But don't choke on your drink. For the sake of the podcast, she's a homie.
Yeah.
Sometimes I slip up and call her dude. And that's, you know, she laughs about it. But it's because like we get along and we laugh, and she's completely different than me when it comes to what she's into and anime and different stuff that she shares with our kiddos. And I get into it. But I like her, as in I can coexist. Like it's not hard to get her door. You know, I think I've always kind of been a gentleman type. I think I like wearing that shirt.
You're a freaking romantic, dude.
Ooh,
He is. Yeah, for you guys watching, if you don't know, Will's a freaking like lover, romantic dude.
I'm just a passionate guy.
Yeah.
I do like to care, but I like wearing that shirt. You know, so I think for girls that really want someone to consistently take care of them long term, if I'm answering that, I'm trying to answer the question the best I can, but if you're looking for the guy to continue to put in the effort during a long-term relationship, and it is about those little things, I think you just have to find a guy that just likes to wear that shirt. I like being a protector. I like when my family feels safe. You know, I like, you know, getting her door. I like, you know, I get her, and I don't go super elaborate on birthdays and Valentine's. Like I get her great stuff. What I really enjoy doing is if I'm out at the mall grabbing stuff for the kids, and I see something that I know she needs more of, or something I know she would like, I'll just bring stuff home unannounced.
Little random gifts,
because I was thinking of you. But with that being said, like I'm not trying to do that. I think that's just me.
Yeah.
But shit, man, I do that for you sometimes. You know, and I know you've done it, you know, for me before. So I kind of think it's just who a guy is. But I do like wearing a gentleman shirt.
And for girls, you have to communicate too. Like, don't just expect everything to be perfect for as long as you guys are together. If there's something that you're not getting, just communicate it and talk about it.
Yeah.
Like that's super important for me. If, you know, Megan and I, we have to communicate, and she doesn't expect me to know everything that she's thinking. And you could sit there and you could be bitter for 3 months, you know, of just, he's not romantic. When he thinks because he's doing all this other stuff for you, that everything's totally fine. Right.
Well, because he could be giving you that effort or that whatever you're seeking in just a different form.
Yes.
So the communication on that is key. But again, falling back to the whole love versus like, I also like her.
Yeah.
It's not hard for me to do those things because we are like homies, you know, like we do enjoy like that casual time, and it just allows that flow. And, you know, like I like when you say demand or expect, like I don't get any, you know, and I'm not trying to like voice everything with my relationship and my family. And obviously some of that's disclosure and it's private and, you know, but just with some of the experiences and some of my history that I've gone through in life, like, look, man, I'm also not the easiest guy to deal with. You know, like I've got some shit that I shoulder, which means what, man? Like, well, my bullshit's your bullshit, and your bullshit is my bullshit. Kevin Hart quote, right? Like, you know, like that's kind of like there too. But she doesn't expect those things, which does make it easier. Now, here's the deal: when girls aren't expecting, you do have that guy personality where like they just get completely complacent. Oh, this is easy. Oh, cool, bro. Like, but then they're not putting it in. So I think guys have to have that maturity and just be cognizant of, you know, when a girl's not expecting, it's almost like they deserve more, you know, because they're not expecting that. And depending on how they're supporting you and things like that. But I think just finding a guy, the best that you can, like, as much as the love languages can be different, you got to communicate it. I agree. I also think if you can find someone that naturally gravitates to giving and receiving love
Yeah.
similar to you,
Yeah.
or at
Yeah.
least you can, or there's enough communication there where you guys can understand each other, I think you're set up better for success. I think that communication piece is key, man.
And for women, make sure you're doing those little things on your end too.
Uh-oh.
Right?
Are you going team guy today?
All right. Just right here.
Oh, he's like, oh, girls.
tit
so
for tat, dude.
girls,
Like, yeah.
maybe you ain't shit.
Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Well,
We're going to
just-
talk about
just-
that at the
just
end.
make sure, and like I said, that's why I said it's human nature just to
Yeah.
get comfortable, right? And you
Yeah.
stop trying as hard because you don't necessarily need to. Per
we do that
se,
with our
like-
diet. We do it with
Yeah,
work. We do it
yeah.
with family. I mean, I think complacency is just a human pattern that
It
we,
is.
if you can set contingencies to mitigate that the best as possible, I think you're going to be better off. But again, depending on how you like to receive love or whatever it may be, if you can find a guy that naturally gravitates to maybe how you like to receive it, or
yeah.
a guy like me, I just wear that shirt. I do like being that for my daughter, and I like being a protector. I like bringing little things home, and I do like to go out of my way to make sure I'm grabbing doors. Those things matter to me. So beyond, making Kate feel a certain way, those matter to me. Like, that's just the kind of guy that I try to be, man. And I'm obviously not mistake free and whatever it may be. But again, as far as like the character side and the love language side, I like being that guy, man. So I think just identifying and just trying to find, I guess, who's compatible. That's not, God, it sounds terrible right now.
No, not at all.
But that compatibility of if you can be as similar as possible with the love languages you speak, it might help.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
Yeah.
good point. And read that book if you haven't read that. It's a great book.
It's and you might not be able to take everything from it. I didn't, but at least just understanding that giving and receiving love is different, and people do it differently than you, and it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
It's good,
Yeah,
especially
it
for young people that are
That is.
single and ready to mingle and need a language. You
Like
don't know
Fat.
what
Like Fat.
language do girls speak, Fat? What do you got for us today?
I'm sorry, what was your question?
What language do girls speak nowadays, man? How's your age bracket? What do they speak? Cray cray? Undecisiveness?
Oh, there's 5 languages, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just asking your
There's adding
opinion.
the 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cray.
Cray cray. Or as much as they expect, maybe they have no idea what they want. I don't know. I've heard that before too.
I don't know. I don't even know what I want. That's why
That's
I'm
the
single.
thing right there, man.
So
yeah,
what a great insight.
all trying to figure it out.
Appreciate your perspective today, man.
Of course.
Right on.
All right, next question.
Let's do it.
I hear girls talk about this one a lot. I think.
Oh,
this is
that's
gonna
not the
be an
question.
interesting one.
I thought someone stuttered through message and you were reading it verbatim. And I'm like, who the
I
fuck
don't know
wrote
where
that?
stutter comes from. All right, how do you look approachable and not intimidating as a female?
Don't be 6 foot.
Oh
No,
no,
I'm kidding.
I had a girl tell me one time I'm 5'12", and I'm like, that's
Oh,
6 foot.
she said that.
Sweetheart, she said 5'12". Like, you're
Dude.
trying real hard not to.
And
be 6
dude,
foot.
and you've been taken for 10 years, so this is back in the day. This is when she was
Yeah.
like the only 6 foot walking
yeah,
around.
this was just.
I'm teasing.
Yeah.
How do you look how to not look intimidating and approachable?
Resting bitch face.
Oh,
That's a
man,
big
you beat me
one.
to it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm self-awareness. I hear so many girls joke about that they got a just resting bitch face, but you know when like someone's joking but they're not joking and they kind of own it? I feel like girls like owning that they just have this resting bitch face. And I wonder where that comes from.
I think it's common. I think it's more common than people think. So when that meme
I think
or
you're
whatever
wearing
came out,
you might be wearing your thoughts on your face. I don't know. Excuse my throat. But here's my thing too, especially when you're out. If you have expectations, we spoke about this in the last podcast. If you're out with expectation of something and it's not going quite well, or the atmospherics or the talent per se that's out is not appealing to you, you might be wearing a bitch face. Because you're just not impressed
and
with
that's
what's
just
there.
an actual bitch face, right?
Yeah.
That's an actual bitch face. And I think, especially with makeup, the way makeup is, like so many girls know how to do their makeup really well now, and I think like a lot of them kind of put off that like super put together, they're going out covered in makeup, big dresses, and then they're writing it off as being too intimidating, that they're not approachable. Or
if a girl could act like a guy in this sense, you might be better off. So let me give you an example. Guys were idiots, okay? Like, I'm just going to throw that out there. We're idiots, we're walking boners, for lack of a better statement. But for this topic right now, as a whole, if a girl walks into a bar, not too many guys are going to be picky. Let's say she's a 6 or a 7, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. But more, if she walks up and approaches a guy, most guys are like, all right, cool. I'll hang, right?
Yeah.
Versus if any guy walks into a bar, right? Like I guess what I'm trying to get at without being inappropriate, girls get offers thrown at them all the time.
Right.
As a whole. So if you're that one girl is like, no, I don't. Okay, you got the resting bitch face or you're scary. I don't know what it is. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
But as a whole, girls have a lot more options than guys, correct? So as a guy, if I'm single and I'm out and I'm doing this thing, I've got to be super aware of people's body language. If I'm looking at someone, I got to see who's making eye contact with me and who's like, okay, like I don't get the resting bitch face. Maybe someone looks at me and smiles and I smile back. Like, okay, there's a key indicator. She noticed me. She smiled, or maybe, hey, if I wave or she waves or whatever, maybe guys, we kind of have to fend for ourselves. So we can't just go into a bar and just approach anyone. You kind of have to go with like getting a vibe and just like, hey, who do we think is into us? And like, hey, she seems a little friendly and she's giving me a couple of looks and like, hey, maybe it's okay to approach and ask her name, right? And have a conversation with her, right? I think if girls can approach that more like a guy, like, hey, be more aware of your body language.
Yes.
Be more aware of like just making eye contact with someone or waving or saying hello. Like you don't necessarily have to walk across the room. Like you can still let the guy come to you, whatever it may be. But I think so many girls get caught up in like talking with their friends or looking down or almost going out of their way. Like they think a guy's cute. And I've got girls that are friends. They think a guy's cute, so they don't make eye contact.
Yeah.
Oh. And you're like, no, man. Like you're actually counterintuitive if that's the right.
You have to give some sort of cue. Sort of cue. Well, and
guys are looking for that because look, guys can't just go into a bar. Even if it's Brad Pitt, right? And I'm obviously being subjective here. Like I think he's hot. He walks in. Look, if a girl's just not into him, she's just not into him. Right? Versus like guys, it's just different. Girls get shit thrown at them all the time.
Right,
guys, we're idiots, right? Like we're down, like we're just idiots. I hope I'm articulating this the right way. So girls, you got to understand that guys, we're really a little bit more hypersensitive to key indicators of body language or someone making eye contact and smiling. And if you're nervous and so you don't want to make eye contact, but understand the signal that you're giving that guy. And it's really hard for him to understand that you want him to go over there and say hello.
It is.
If you're kind of giving him a cold shoulder and maybe in your head, again, love languages, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar to, hey, you're acting this way for some reasons, but how you're actually coming off to him, unclear as hell. Unclear as all get out.
And if I could give you girls any piece of advice, exactly like you took my answer is perfect. If you're at a bar in your public setting and you do want to be approached more, have fun, smile more, laugh more.
Get out of the corner.
Get out of the corner. Just literally go have fun. Just by someone, and think of this, like anytime you've been in a bar, if you hear people laughing, someone having fun, it's contagious. You look at them, it's magnetic, and you're drawn over that way.
And you're approachable.
So you're approachable. You look like you're having fun. Hey, I can go talk to that person.
Yeah.
You guys have to do that. Way too many of you get in your own head. And I think, or even sometimes if nothing's in your brain, but your face just relaxes. You get that resting bitch face.
We don't know where it comes from.
We don't know where the hell it comes from, but go have
there.
fun. Like walk into the bar, have fun, laugh with your girlfriends. 1,000% you're getting approached more.
And here's the deal too. Like maybe you're not out looking for guys. Don't change your demeanor. Like this is where the resting bitch face or, productive stuff becomes a habit. Just be yourself and have a good time without any expectation. So if you're out with your girlfriends and you got 12 girlfriends and it's just really not the night to meet a guy, but you're still kind of open to it, and if someone approaches, say hi and enjoy them. And if it's not the night and the guy says hi to you, say hi and just kind of leave it at that. You don't have to change up your style based off of what you're doing that night. It's true. Go out and have fun and be yourself, but understand, a bigger number of girls can be a little bit more intimidating to a guy, not because he's a coward, but sometimes as guys, if we see 12 girls out, we think you're deliberately out for like a bachelorette party or something like that. And the only guys that are going to approach you are the ones that might be like a little buzzed and a little obnoxious to think that they can break up a party of 12 females and interrupt. And it's probably not the guy you're going to go for in the first place. Most guys, not being cowardice, right? But most guys just, even if they like you, they just understand like that timing might not be completely appropriate. So if you are going out to have some fun with friends, but you're also interested and we're using that approach, like going out with maybe a couple less females,
like 2 or 3 girls.
Yeah, because it looks like it's more social versus you're out for something specific for one of those girls and a guy. Like for me, for example, like I definitely feel I would not approach you because I think you're out for a reason. Unless you came out of your way to come say hi to me, I probably wouldn't because I think I'm disrupting something.
Right,
so
right.
keep that in mind as well.
Yeah. Yep. All right. What are your thoughts on a girl making the first move, or would this make the guy less interested because there's less of a challenge?
So cliche. All right, you and I disagree on this. I'm not into girls making the first move.
Yeah, we just have different perspectives.
But
right?
here's my deal. I just like wearing that shirt. I like being, and I spoke about this in episode 18. I like, like even with Kate or with, anyone else. Like I like actually asking someone out and saying like, hey, here's my thoughts on you and here's where I think it's going. And I'd like to be your boyfriend. Like I've always enjoyed that. So I always feel like I should approach. I always, and if I get shot down, like, hey, that's cool. Whatever, like. Not that that's happened. Let's not get crazy, right? Not that that's happened. Trying to just be relatable here.
Yeah.
But I don't think girls should necessarily be making the first move as far as like that first physical approach move. However, getting back to that prior question, that first move might just be removing your bitch face off of your face and looking up and having some eye contact. And if a guy smiles, you smile back, or if he waves, you wave back, to just have some key indicators that maybe it's safe to approach.
Yeah.
Because some of you girls wear that resting bitch face so much, we're like concerned for your safety. We're concerned for your well-being. Like, I don't even know if you're on this planet when I see some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should she
and
be out
sometimes,
tonight?
dude, and they're like sometimes I'll get them from people and I'm like, I'm not even approaching you. But they just wear it so well, it gets a little confusing. Like you almost want to be like, hey, don't want your number. Like I'm just here to wave my hand in front of your face to make sure like your eyes react.
Right.
Like, hey, are you good? Hey, are you okay?
Right.
Hey, you call 911. You call a corpsman, right? Military joke, but
now.
So again, I guess to cut you off and to finish my statement here.
Sure.
It depends on how you define move. If that first move are key indicators to allow someone to understand it's safe to approach, well then yes, I think a girl should be somewhat reciprocating of eye contact or something that says it's okay to approach. And then once that happens, yes, I am more in favor of a guy just making a statement and approaching. I think it's a gentleman thing to do. I also think it says something for the long term in a guy. I don't think it's a character flaw if he doesn't. Or here's the deal, maybe there's some confusion. Like maybe as much as you think you're given key indicators, you're not. And if you don't want to miss out on an opportunity, you approaching him and he might go, oh, well, hello. I had no idea
that
you
was
were
going
even
to be
into
my
me.
next sentence.
Okay.
Like if you're depending on, and I don't like giving blanket answers for
Hard, right?
every situation, right? Because everything's a little different. So, I mean, you could be out in a public setting and he just literally doesn't see you because there's 300 other people in the room and he hasn't looked over your way, right?
Eli.
But you've watched him and you're like, hey, night's about to be over. I don't want to miss out on this opportunity. I say go talk to him. What have you got to lose?
Yeah.
Now, if this is somebody that's in your life on a consistent basis and he's had every opportunity to present himself to you or, make a connection there, and you're in this for something greater or longer than just a one-night stand or a hookup or, hey, let's do this tonight and then see what happens from here. If you're in it then more than that, then I 100% agree with Will. Either he may have something else going on, may not just be interested, or just may be a pussy and too scared to ask.
Maybe he's just not that into you.
Yeah, or
Movie
just,
quote.
that's what I'm saying. Just not that. Yeah,
Get some ice cream. Cry about it. Watch that movie that night. He's just not that into you.
I know. I think Megan watches that. all the time. She watches like 2000s.
Such a good movie. By the way, guys, hey, look, guys, we get way more rejection than females. We've been through the trenches.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, case by case, right?
Yeah,
case by case.
Case by case. Again, I think key indicators are super important, man. And again, I do think if it's a coworker or someone you see at the gym or someone through a mutual friend and you play volleyball and you see him once a week, someone that's got ample opportunity and you've had laughing conversations and you laugh and touch his shoulder and he laughs back and touches your shoulder and like there's been that, like, yeah, I do think it's a guy's responsibility to take that next step.
Agree.
And maybe he's
100%
liking
agree.
you. He's just not quite there yet. Maybe he's just not quite ready to ask. So, you got to ask yourself, what's the right time frame? 4 months, 5 months, I don't know, know. But again, it's a hard. Now, I'm only giving you my opinion, your opinion, so I can't speak for every guy. If you want to take that chance, take it. But yes, I do think like you were painting that picture of a guy that you see on a regular for whatever reason, especially like these recreational things like volleyball and kickball and and co-ed, softball and all these things. Like you're around someone and there's been plenty of body language and conversations and laughs and it just doesn't go further. Like, yeah, I think you might want to pump the brakes on that a little bit and maybe kind of wait for him. And if he is into you and he just can't pull you off to the side and have a conversation after all of that good vibe, well, I just question, like, if you do it, okay, but like, what's his character say? Like, what's that character flaw say about him for the long term?
Says he's a little bitch.
Ooh. And Eli's back to team girl. He's kind of like swinging back and forth. You better pick a team, bro. You like my shirt? I'm team girl today. Just
I
be
like
clear.
it. I like it.
I like you.
All right, this one is a hot topic right here. Who should pay on the first date? The guy, split it, or whoever asks who to go on the date.
All right. You want to go first on this one?
I'm a hard, just speaking from my perspective, but I think the guy every time.
Yeah.
I think the guy every time.
You know, and yeah, I don't know
You
any
agree?
other way around it.
Yeah.
Even if look, we have single girlfriends, and and I've heard this. Well, but I asked him out. I don't care. He said yes.
I'm physically not letting you pay. I will do anything in my power.
That
so
sounds
that
like
you
some
cannot
flirting
pay.
right there.
I
So
wanna-
like, if she's like, "No, I'm paying," are you gonna like wrestle her in the restaurant? By her,
The
I
hot,
mean
the hot
Megan.
answer is like yes, but the real answer is I'll probably go to the restroom and then tell the waitress.
I
take my
think so
card.
too, but I don't think And here's what this is where I get out of the weeds.
Yeah.
This whole who's paying, because I have heard girls say like, if the guy pays, it makes it a date. Doesn't make it shit. Makes it dinner. Your body language, how you're treating conversations during that time.
Yeah.
What you guys decide to do after dinner.
Yep.
If you decide to stay in touch, if you decide to go do other stuff together, that stuff is going to indicate whether someone's, assuming it's more than it is. And again, if a guy is asking you out or asking to be your boyfriend and things like that, and there's actual like pillar conversations to each phase of this relationship per se, it doesn't make it anything, you know? And I really I kind of shun upon, and I've never seen one, so I'm only going off of what girls have told us when they, and I've had several girls two that I can think of tell me that if they let the guy pay, it makes it like it gives the wrong impression, and it makes this atmosphere feel like it's a date. And I'm like, I just feel like if any guy thinks that makes that a date, so now you have entitlement to her, or you have or now you have expectation of her to like call you the next day, like that's on you, bro.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's really on you.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm the same way. Like even if a girl were to ask me out on a date, I'm still gonna pay.
Hell yeah.
Because I
dude.
still said like, well, she asked. I'm still gonna pay.
Hell
I
yeah.
I said okay.
Hell yeah.
But I think that's part of me just wearing that gentleman shirt and just like, hey, look, here's the deal. Whether we're just friends or just go somewhere, like I just want to be polite, and I want to have my own personal approval of my own etiquette with how I approach it. But at the same time, I think to my defense, I'm not making it something it's not either.
Right.
If I'm trying to force a situation or make it something it's not, and I start calling you sweetie pie at the dinner table, and then I'm like going out of my way to pay for it so I can insinuate that it's something. Look, I'm just a douchebag at that point.
Yeah.
And at that point, ladies, let him pay for it and just don't call the kind back.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
I think
you're not obligated to do anything.
Yeah, and guys, look, if you're on a budget, go on less dates.
Yes.
Because if you're on a budget and you're not financially,
You should be fucking dating anyway.
you should be handling
God.
you should be getting your life right.
Yeah.
And man, write that down. Here.
I got you.
Here.
I got you.
Just getting your shit together, getting your life right. I think a lot of times when people aren't happy with their life, and I think this is what's wrong with a lot of dating. Don't let me get too far on a tangent, because we can go over this at the end. But when everything else is like wrong in your life and you're just looking for escapes to not have to handle stuff, well, dating sites are pretty fucking convenient, isn't it? For guys and girls. So when you see like just a vast number of people that are just inappropriate and just not the etiquette or whatever it may be on these online dating sites, I just think like the access to be able to drown yourself in that versus just getting your life together. And it's so much easier to just run from stuff and do that. So if guys aren't paying or being a certain way, like I just wonder how stable the rest of their life is.
And where their intentions at. Maybe they're just trying to get dinner out of somebody.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of girls that are like that too.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, so it's up to guys to like be able to maybe have a couple of conversations with someone to try to like just screen it the best as possible and see where that vibe is, or maybe getting them on the phone and having a couple phone calls before you even go to dinner.
Now,
but again, if you're obligated, if you're saying yes to that, even if the girl asks, I do think a guy should pay.
Yeah, 100%
Just
agree.
don't make it something it's not. But I think this is why girls want to pay. Well, I don't want to make it a date. I end up going with this dude, and maybe I don't like him, or it's a different vibe, or I'm not attracted to him, so I should pay. Like, no, like guys just shouldn't make it something it's not. But and I think that's for my own word, my own branding for myself, I guess, is like whether a chick likes me or not, like I just want to be a good dude about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, I think me paying is more for me than it is being a gentleman or anything else like that. I think I just want to be a good guy.
Well, and for us, this goes outside of dating. This is just how I feel like every interaction we have with somebody, I know you have the intention, I have the intention, and it's just a natural thing. We want to give a little more than we receive across the board in every single situation. And 100%. In that case, even if it is somebody that's brand new, it's your first date, just by taking care of that, you know, and then you both have good conversation, whatever, like you're just giving a little more than you receive, which I think is good practice all around.
I agree.
Now, if you've got a guy that isn't doing this, or that, you know, you're on a first date and he does let you pay, it doesn't mean he's a bad dude. This is, like Will said, it's his personal branding kind of.
Yeah.
It's a personal thing for us. Not that he's a bad dude.
It doesn't necessarily mean anything. I think it's the context, right? I think it's
all context.
All the conversations and everything else that kind of led up to what you were doing. Mm-hmm. But I also think it's just a small version of a girl proposing. And I disagree with that.
Yeah. Now,
you know?
If you've been in a relationship and the guy has been providing, because here's where I kind of get it, right? You've been paying for everything. You're in a relationship and the girl is like, hey, let me take you out tonight. You've been doing all this stuff for me. Let me take you out tonight. That's a different story, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Again, you just change the narrative.
Yeah.
The narrative is completely different. Like now you guys are in a relationship and you're enjoying each other, and that guy's been doing right by you and taking you out and having a good time, and you want to spend some of your money on him or take him out and surprise him. And you know, I don't want to I would never want to take that from someone. If I'm dating someone, as much as I feel good to take him out and pay for that first date or pay for the majority of whatever we're doing, I feel good doing that. Who's to say a girl can't feel good doing the same thing?
Right.
So of course, like once you're in a relationship and things have been established and you're a team with that, of course I want those opportunities to come through, you know, and allow her an opportunity to also feel good about what she's contributing to. I just think early on, I really want to establish myself and just not only for her, but for me, I just want to feel good about the guy that I'm representing, whether you like me or not, whether you never talk to me again or not. I'm too ugly for you, or I'm just not a good looking dude, I guess, man. Like, okay, like no matter what it is, but I don't ever want you to have something bad to say to me, like I was disrespectful or I was rude, or I just like to be a good dude. So I think the majority of why I choose to pay early on, first time and early on, is just establishing, you know, who I am choosing to be with this person, friend or not friend, just choosing my path.
Yeah. I like it. Now, oh man, this one I was dreading. All right,
you just made it a big deal.
So,
let's hear it.
If you have an STI, should you disclose that prior to having intercourse with somebody? And flip side of that, if you don't have an STI, how do you go out asking somebody if they do, or if they've been checked, or if they're clean?
Interesting. First and foremost, I fear people dating nowadays. Like with just how many people are carriers of stuff and just how common things get passed around. Like as much as there's probably jokes about this topic, it's also not a joking matter.
And how uncommon condoms are now.
Super uncommon, and maybe that's a cultural thing. Right? Like, but yeah, I think it's a serious thing, and I think it's so hard to tell. You know, back in your and I's day, right? Back in our day, if someone had an STI, it was an STD. It was an STD back then. Now it's STI, cool. But back in our day, if someone had one, they were a slut, male or female. It was like they're a hoe, they're a slut, or you're sleeping with someone dirty. Nowadays, like this dating epidemic is so out of control. I don't know how it's monitored. I can't even speak to how they're trying to contain that. So there's probably some good girls that are not sleeping around with a ton of dudes that are still exposed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
Maybe a guy doesn't sleep around much, but when he does, you just happen to sleep
one
with
time,
someone.
man.
And look, here's the other thing too. Like maybe you don't even know you have it and you're a carrier. Thank God for you and I getting our damn blood work done every month, right? Like, you know, just staying on top of our
Not
health.
like STI blood
No,
work. We're
being
not
funny.
that concerned about it.
No, that definitely came off like that. Sorry about that. I just kind of threw you under the bus, didn't I? Hey, Elon, I heard. No.
We get tested every month.
No, but as much as like there's probably jokes about this, I don't want to joke about it because I do think it's really hard to filter through that. I think good people, guys and girls, end up with something and they're not thirsty assholes just sleeping around. I'm sure those people get it too, but I think good people are finding themselves in bad situations, right? So I guess first and foremost, first part of that question, if you have it, should you be disclosing that before having sex? Here's my deal. I have a two-phase on this. If whatever you have is curable, I would probably focus on that. I'd probably be sleeping with medication and getting my shit squared away, right? This would be part of getting your life squared away.
Yep.
You should probably be handling that to the best of your ability, or getting rid of it, period, if it's curable, prior to sleeping with anyone, right? Like, I think that's just a mature thing to do. If it's something that you contracted and it's not like you have to live with it, but you can, I think there's a couple of them that you can live with, but if you take medication, like, you won't spread it to anyone.
Yeah.
I don't know which one that is, but I've heard some things like that. And yeah, I think you have to have that conversation. I don't know how you can, have something like that and expose someone to something and look, oh, well, they're going to wear a condom, so that's okay. Or, because it's not just girls. Or, I'm going to wear a condom so she won't get exposed to it. No, there's still risk there. So yes, I think 100% you should be having that conversation with somebody. The second part of that question is, how do you ask without being rude? I don't know. I think everyone just has to kind of be themselves. So if you're at all slightly concerned, this is hard to answer because it's like, well, is he with a lot of girls on his social media? Does he date a lot? Do you know him from work? Does it look like he gets around, or vice versa with the girl? Like, do you have reason to ask, or is your protocol to just ask everyone because you're so scared? Whatever it is, like, I think you just have to respectfully ask the best that you can and just say, hey, look, no disrespect, but like, have you ever contracted anything, or do you have anything? Like, I'm just, hey, but I think, believe it or not, when you give people benefit of doubt and you just have a conversation, like, if a girl would ask me that, I'm trying to think of dating right now, and a girl would ask me that, I would say no, and I wouldn't be mad, because I think I've got 2 cents in my brain. And if she's like, hey, here's my concern, and this is kind of how dating is nowadays, and like, I just want to protect my body the best that I can, I'm like, yeah, dating's a nightmare nowadays. Like, I get it. Like, I understand why you're asking me. I'm not offended. No, I'm good.
Especially grown adults. Like, you should be able to have that conversation for real.
Well, and this is where it comes down to, like, hey, if you're adult enough to start putting things in people's body parts and all over the goddamn place, like, you can't have the conversation about it, but you can start swimming in each other's petri dish. Well,
that's the thing. Here's my advice. That conversation is only awkward when it's one night, you met the person, you're about to hook up, and you're like, hey, real quick, do you have anything? No, I'm good. All right, cool. All right, and then...
hold on a minute. I think, to kind of like trample over you right now, I think if that's going down, and like, guy or girl, it's going down night one and you're both like into that moment and you try to sneak that question in, they're going to tell you no.
Exactly.
A dude's hard and you're flirting around like that and it's like, hey, real quick, you got anything? No, nothing.
So my first tip,
right?
if you're concerned about that, don't do that, right? Don't do these random hookups.
Yeah.
Secondly,
because there are people that are just good people, man, like that do end up contracting something and they don't sleep around all the time. They're unlucky.
Yeah.
There is that.
So secondly, if you're in a situation to where you're actually going about it the way that you probably should, to where you know the person, you've met them a few times, you've seen their stuff on social, you have some idea the type of person that they are, then having that question is easier, right?
I think so. And I think it's just one of those things where just be respectful as possible. Do you have anything?
Right.
Like if you say that question with your resting bitch face, you're probably going to get an asshole answer back.
Yes.
So I again, like anything else, like business, like or anything other serious type of conversation that aren't our favorite sometimes, I think it's just about the delivery and just saying, hey, look, I'm not accusing you of anything, but here's how dating kind of goes nowadays, and I'm sure you're super aware because you and I are dating, and this is my concern. Have you ever contracted anything, before? And do you currently have anything? Like, I just want to make sure that I'm keeping myself as safe as possible. And hey, listen, I'm not saying that you sleep around a lot. I do know that people that don't sleep around a lot still get contracted with something before. Like, if you're coming off sympathetic and just and you come off from a place where you're just concerned and want to be safe, like I think that's more than okay.
That's respectable, super respectable. But if you are sleeping around, that's a real risk that you run.
Yeah, you might want to.
You're not going to
get a penicillin shot every day.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing. If you're sleeping around a lot, like, hey, guys and girls, look, hey, guys out there, right? Because guys were idiots. So I'm kind of prefacing this toward you, like, hey, sleeping around, it's all good and it's cool. No, it's not cool. Because if you're doing that and then you do end up catching something that you have to live with, that, if you take a pill, it won't spread to anyone, but you still got to carry it for the rest of your life. What happens 2 years from now when you do meet that awesome chick? And then you do got to have that conversation, and she's like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Sorry, bro.
Yep.
Like, she's out of there. And now you're missing out on an opportunity that you do want. So, guys, as much as it might be fun and whatever it may be to sleep around and have a good time, and I know technically, right, per like society rules, from what it seems like, is guys get high-fived for sleeping around and girls get a different stigma for that. But, guys, you can seriously mess up your future with a good woman one day because you're being a fucking idiot at whatever age or phase that you're in. And if you're in the thirsty-ass hoe phase, and you're messing around and you're not being safe about that, you can really, really, really screw your future up with someone that's super solid.
Yeah, it's true.
Because you contract to something when you're an idiot. And then vice versa for girls. I know girls nowadays, it's like, hey, girls can, and this is like a stigma. We even hear about it. Hey, girls can get theirs too. Yeah, 100%. However, guys can be dirty. Like I think you just got to be super careful with it. And I think people, guys and girls, I guess this is my end statement for this question. Guys and girls, as much as dating sucks and as much as you're in a phase of like, you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, or there's no good dudes out there, no good girls out there, at some point something's going to work out for you. I would hate for your intermission, to really have an effect on your long-term play in life with someone because you're getting shit out of your system.
Yeah.
I think you should be careful.
That's one thing about growing up, man, is you realize that there are real consequences out there.
Yeah.
And, when you're 18, 19, 20, growing up, you're having fun and you're doing stuff like, you don't really realize that, man, until you see your friends going through shit and people lose their lives and then lose their families or whatever.
Yeah.
Once you start hitting this age, like, damn, like there's some real consequences. So you have to take care of your stuff, guys. If you're going to act like an adult, you have to.
And you got to
like
understand, and I'm not trying to shun anyone from a phase. Girls, if you're out getting yours, awesome. I'm not saying that you have any less right to do that than a guy. Regardless what society says, I do think that it's changing a little bit, and it's a little bit more acceptable for girls to do their thing. But again, not to beat a dead horse, I think whether you're a guy or a girl, especially nowadays, like you got to be super careful because this phase that you're in and you having fun and getting out of your system could really fuck you, no pun intended, for the long term, for a long term player for you, and that'd be super detrimental, right? So, food for thought.
Next one, ghosting.
Ooh,
is it so difficult for people to just communicate and say, "I'm not that into you"?
Oh, not a real ghost. I thought like
that'd be ghost hunting. Yeah,
Shaggy.
Yeah,
there's a ghost. Not that kind of ghost. No. You like my Scooby Doo?
I do. That was good.
All right. Well, define ghosting for me. Is that just like a no call, no show? It's not to the date.
No, you're communicating with someone. Okay. Everything's all great. You're doing whatever, and then all of a sudden, nothing. They're gone. They're gone.
Well, just kind of remember in the first episode we were talking about just being emotionally invested and allowing rejection to
have some sort of
have
impact
such an effect on you, and it's like, hey, it's a stress. Like same thing. I guess my question is two-parted here. If someone has amazing, conversations with you and you're talking on the phone and you're texting back and forth and then you guys go on a date and then after the date they ghost you, that's your answer. They don't want anything to do with you. I wouldn't go any further than that. Like, well, can't they just politely say they're just not that into me? Like, yeah, but it's not going to change the outcome. Yeah, they're nicer about it, but just don't take it personal because you're just putting too much energy into someone that doesn't matter. If you haven't gone on a date and out of the blue somehow they ghost you, I would have the same reaction. I'd maybe text a couple of times if I just don't get any responses. I'm thinking in my head I hope you're okay. I hope you didn't have a car accident. I hope you're not dead, but I think those are the anomalies, right? I don't think those are just the norm. I think, hey, I met you on a dating site. You're probably talking to someone else this week because you went on a date and it went well, and you don't have time to text me, and you haven't got to my date, and you might not ever get to my date because the girl you're dating that you went on a date with prior to me that I know nothing about that I should be expecting you to do because you're on a dating site, you're probably hanging out with her. So even if I haven't met you yet, if you ghost me, whether I know the reason or not, whether I agree with the reason or not, you got to understand it's a key indicator for you.
Yes.
Right? And it's like, hey, he's obviously putting his attention somewhere else.
Yeah. You know what it reminds me of? So it reminds me of when we were selling a house, right? Yep. And we've had 10 showings on it, no offers, and the sellers are dying for feedback on the home, right?
Okay.
And they're, well, what did the people think about it? Can't they know? Why don't they send out that feedback thing? And it's like, well, and then they send feedback and they're like, well, tell them this. And it's like, hey,
yeah, we had a lady like that.
They don't even like you enough to
hey, I got speakers in my house. The people that came by, they didn't like the carpet.
Yeah, do they know there's
call
speakers?
them, tell them I'll change the carpet. They're just making a comment.
Yes.
Listen, they just don't like your house.
Yeah.
You know, and they're not buying it. If they were buying it, we'd have an offer. You know, now what you can do is if it has a weird smell or if there's something like that you can fix for future people coming into your house, then that's different.
Yes.
Because people that don't mind your carpet, that don't mind your layout, that just don't like the smell of it, yeah, there's some things you can mitigate to make that house better, right? But if people aren't buying, they're not buying. But yeah, twofold. If they ghost you and you haven't met them yet, I don't want to like bad talk people right now. Yeah, maybe they got caught up at work. Maybe they got in a car accident. Listen, I'm just going to be super clear, though. If I got in a car accident and I was talking to Kate, bro, I would text her from my hospital bed.
Yeah.
Hey, got in a car accident. Super sorry about last night. And I'd send you a picture of my broke-ass leg in the hospital because I'm just that into her.
Yeah.
So I would hate to miss out on that opportunity. I'm not speaking for all guys. I'm not saying you should be in the hospital like taking photos of your broke dick. I'm not saying that, okay? I just think it's so rare. And I think like, everyone's busy at work. Oh, everyone got in a car accident. Like,
the reality is they
it gets
probably
too
just
common.
don't like you that much.
And I don't think you should fish. I think I think people ghosting you again. And I think, look, it's an answer.
Yes,
if
it
if you try to prove a point to them or try to teach them some morals to treat people better, they're not listening to you.
Yeah.
You're actually giving up your own time and energy.
It doesn't mean you're ugly. It doesn't mean you're not interesting. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means
maybe you are to them.
Maybe you are to them, or
But-
maybe they just found something a little better that they like.
But that's
and it's just
okay.
different,
Because
right.
again, like not every look, I still don't know why Kate thinks I'm hot. Okay? Fuck. Okay? But she does.
She
so
does.
I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean every girl thinks I'm cute. And just because they don't think I'm cute doesn't mean like I get wrapped around that.
Yeah.
I don't expect every person to enjoy my grits or my rapist witch, right? Like Dumb and Dumber quote.
movie quote, right?
Yeah, I don't expect everyone to. So just because someone's not that into me, it's not a negative.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just a different flavor for them.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Like Hawaiian pizza, meat lovers. I don't like, right? Like whatever I like is what I like. It doesn't mean that the other one's bad. It's just not my flavor. I know that sounds silly, but people get so caught up in that, and I think it's true. Look, she just doesn't think you're cute or entertaining or funny. Cool, that's okay. You're going to find someone who thinks you are cute or you are interesting and you are intriguing, and then vice versa. Girls, if a guy he just doesn't like your style, your look or whatever, like that's okay. You should be with someone who does.
Yeah, and while you're
It's
busy,
not bad.
while you're busy doing background checks and shit,
Yeah.
okay, background checks and shit on some guy that ghosted you,
let me,
you
like-
could be spending time connecting and having conversations with
writing
guys
this down
that
'cause I think
actually
you're speaking
are
to someone.
into you. I know, that's why I dropped the K word. Shout out.
Shout out,
Yeah.
KK, what up?
So
Don't be doing no background check, girl.
correct, right? Don't be no background checks. Go and actually have more conversations with guys that are into you, right?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna. What are you gonna do? Like, I guess the instate like would be to get the guy to admit it. Like, okay, you caught me. It said on my background I'm an asshole. You're right. I don't think you're pretty.
Right now.
Okay, now what?
Moving on.
Get the fuck off of my porch, you crazy
Yeah,
bitch.
Yeah.
And look, I don't really think, man,
When you take a breath, I know something good's about to come out.
like, I'm not a fan of the crazy bitch thing. I'm not saying they don't exist. I just think guys brew it out of them. I think a lot of and I'm quoting the stigma of girls are crazy. Oh, she's a crazy bitch. I don't think girls are just organically that way. I think they just go through, or just guys drive them to a point more times than not.
Yeah,
I'm
agreed.
sure there's people out there that can prove me wrong. I'm only speaking for what I can speak to. But if you're doing background checks and doing all this stuff to go out of your way to like try to prove a point that doesn't even exist because it just doesn't matter why he ghosted you, you're borderline in it right now, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're borderline.
Yeah,
like, if I was a cop again and I had to arrest crazy bitches and I came across my friend I'd be like, hey, this is your final warning.
Yeah, you're like,
any
all right.
any more evidence stacked on you that you're going to Crazy Town jail. You're going, girl. Your ass is out of here. And, but I think that's for anyone. That's a slippery slope of where you just start putting your time and energy, right? Versus just understanding, like, if someone ghosts you, don't take it as an insult. Like, hey, and don't take it as a bitch either. Just don't take it anyway. Don't have, because no disrespect, girls, okay? I could be wrong. Girls either dive into it and try to, like, find this person so they can call them out and, hey, why are you ghosting me? Or they do the other side. Oh, well, fuck him. He ain't shit. And then like they come off super pretentious or entitled. And sometimes girls have that entitled behavior of, you know, looking down on men because they met a couple guys that ain't shit. Oh, okay. I get it. How about just not having any emotional response to it? How about just understanding people just kind of are who they are? And if you stop wrapping a relationship or emotions around it and you realize that that's just human behavior, it's not so serious. And it's just more time you can allocate to meeting someone productive.
And I promise you, there's guys that you've ghosted and you don't even remember.
Ooh.
I promise you, you girls have had
Eli.
conversations with people and then left them high and dry.
You girls ghost each other.
Yeah, that's true too.
Girls ghost each other,
Yeah.
but because there's no emotional attachment or expectation, like, you know, Kate had a bunch of her friends over the other day and they hadn't talked in like forever. And you know how that conversation goes, oh my God, I haven't talked to you like forever. And you know how us guys are, oh my God, I haven't talked to you like forever. Like, it's the same thing.
It is.
And there's no anger, there's no animosity. It's just like, hey, dude. And then what do you tell all your other friends when you see them? Like, oh man, we picked up right where we left off. I heard the same thing from Kate. Oh, we just like, that's Kate's voice, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we just like,
It's good.
didn't even miss a beat. It's just like it, right? You know,
That's
like
pretty good.
But here's the deal. That's completely okay.
Yeah.
You know, like other people have other stuff going on. So it could be like if someone ghosts you, like literally like it might not have anything to do with you. I don't know. But if we stop putting the expectation around it, just because we're talking to someone, that there's expectation that they must maintain communication. And if they don't, they must execute an excuse / reasoning that you approve of why they're not. You're out of your fucking mind. The people are just
and
not gonna do it.
look in the mirror
It
again.
doesn't matter.
The reason I don't get mad at people when they cut me off on the highway or whatever is because I know I've accidentally cut people off on the highway. So with you, do a little thinking. I guarantee you've ghosted guys, and maybe you didn't even have a good reason. You just stopped talking to them, right?
And here's my deal. If you're arguing every single point that we've made right now, okay. But my catch-all is that person's just not that into you.
Yes.
Okay? Like whatever you're trying to prove there and energy you're spending toward that, like it's not gonna create any resolution or any progress for you. So again, allocating your time towards other stuff, even stuff that has nothing to do with dating.
Yeah.
Right? Like crocheting a blanket. I don't know. Something like anything would be more productive than diving down a rabbit hole. And here's the deal. If that person reaches back out to you, hey, I'm super sorry. I know I ghosted you, whatever, for a week, and here was my situation. Well, maybe they explained it. Maybe they articulated it, and maybe there's a reason. Okay, and then maybe you go out with them. But here's the deal. Here's why I think it's okay to give someone a pass. Because if that's them, it'll happen again.
Yeah.
And if they ghost your ass a second time, well, then yeah, you're just done with them.
Yeah, then
but
you
could
know.
someone be worth us? You know, because I don't want girls assuming because they get ghosted. Oh, well, they're just seeing someone else and didn't have time to respond to my text messages because some girl would be looking at their phone. Oh, that girl's gone. Now he's hitting on me. Maybe. Or maybe he had some family stuff. Or maybe it was work stuff. Or whatever he's telling you on the phone when he comes back from ghosting you and says, hey, here's my situation. Like maybe he's not lying. Maybe not every guy's a piece of shit. So maybe he's not lying. And maybe if you choose, you give him an opportunity. Now, if he ghosts you and blocks you on social media, no. Okay? He's probably doing
done.
other stuff.
He's done.
And if
Yeah.
he comes back, yeah, he's full of shit. But if there's nothing on his social media and if you see it or if you have access to it, because I don't think that's stalking. I don't think that's a background check. If someone's your friend on social media or on some other site and you're able to see kind of like what they're doing, they got some bullshit, but you saw like, hey man, I appreciate what you're saying. Thanks for coming back after you ghosted me, but I just saw you out 3 nights ago with your boys at the bar. You were obviously doing okay. You didn't think of me to just like say, hey, sorry for ghosting you 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Or if you see that, why even explain it to him?
Yeah. Just note
Because
those
now
things
you
and
already know
move
your
on.
answer, and then
Right.
just move on.
Yeah.
So if he comes back from ghosting you and he's got some excuse, he or she's got some excuse, and you saw her out with her girlfriends or him out with his guy friends or whatever he was doing, and you can tell clear as day he's had opportunity to reach out and just didn't, and he's giving you a different excuse beyond, I'm an idiot, I forgot to reach out, I was with my guys, and I'm an asshole. You know, you don't even have to like go, hey, thanks for reaching back out, but so I just saw you with your boys 3 nights ago on your Facebook. What, you couldn't have texted me 3 days ago? You're so right. But again, like you're not going to get yourself anywhere. Like you just saw his or her behavior. You just saw their actions, right? Like they're obviously preoccupied. They're not in a phase where you're top of mind. That's your answer. Just don't respond to the text message. Stop wasting your fucking time.
Be grateful you got an answer.
Yes, but as much as I'm telling you, stop wasting your time, there might be some guys that do have a valid reason, and whatever they're telling you over the phone is actually true. And if you don't have any other reason not to believe them, like you don't have them on social media, you don't have ways of seeing, and you don't have a reason not to believe him, maybe you still give the guy an opportunity because maybe he's not full of shit. But if he is, I promise you that behavior will come back. It'll show itself, and you just move on from then.
It's good advice.
Thanks, buddy.
I like it. So, all
This
right.
is like our new career now. We're no longer day $1.0. Eli and I are going to be on tour
Yeah.
talking to females about how much idiots guys
Hey, if
are.
we can help people, man. Oh, shit. All right. So texting. What's an acceptable reply time for texting?
Ooh. What's an acceptable time for texting? I don't know, man. It's case by case.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, did you go on a date? You did?
Yes.
Are you saying that, or is
Yeah.
that what the message
No.
says? Are you framing
We
something
have,
right now?
what we have. Let's assume they're going on a date, and well, let's just assume texting in general, right? Someone that you're dating, okay. Girls just hate when it takes too long to reply to a text.
I don't care what they hate.
I know.
Well, I
That's
mean,
why they're asking this question, though.
it's so layered. Like you got single guys that are out there right now, and obviously I'm trying to answer for women because this is a women's show. So guys, if I'm shitting on you, take it like a man. I'm shitting on the possibilities because I'm trying to do my best for girls. We're gonna get to guys next month, but you have a lot of single guys that are parents. So I mean, does he have kids at home? Like,
does he have a busy job?
Well, here's the deal, man. Like, I'm trying to imagine myself. Like, let's say I were single right now.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I know what would happen. Not what you're thinking. I would die. I don't have the patience for it. But like how busy I am with my kids. Like if I went on a date at night and I'm getting home, like I gotta see my kids or whatever it may be, and then that next morning, and I'm getting up and getting kids ready for school and getting my son food and all of these things because it's like it's my time to have them, and then right after that I'm driving straight to the gym because I got to get it in before work. I'm going straight to work, and then it's Wednesday or Friday and I got meetings right away. I don't have time to text you at all that next day.
Yeah.
Well, don't you? Well, you got a second. If I text and drive,
Yeah.
If I text from the shitter, and that's assuming I don't have an email to answer text and
Right.
driving, or an email to
Exactly.
answer from the shitter. Like
Yeah.
so now you're assuming that like me responding to a text message from you rates above everything else that I'm doing. I think that's where it gets dangerous, right? And like here's the thing. Don't wait for a text. If you had a date and you had a fun date, women, and the next day, I remember when Kate and I were dating, I did like if we were out somewhere and she'd met me there, so we didn't drive together. We met and I didn't drop her off. I would text to make sure she got home okay. But again, that's just me. I'm not requiring that. I'm not saying that should be it. But my next text message was after the date, just making sure she got okay. But I'm not going to sleep well if I don't know she got home okay. I just want to make sure she's okay. So that was my next one. But then, so for girls, if you don't get that, okay, cool. Like, that's fine. The next day, if you haven't heard from him and it's like midday, well, he's probably in the middle of work and whatever he's doing. But girls, if you want to send a text that just says, hey, had a great time last night. Let me know when you've got some time. I'd love to say hi to you on the phone or chat about next weekend. And then if he doesn't respond in the first 10 minutes, that's okay.
Yes.
Maybe that night he can respond,
Yes.
But I don't think it's necessarily like required for the first 24 hours.
No, I think a lot of these questions
And
can
it's
be
all
answered.
going to be, man, yeah, sorry.
A lot of these questions can be answered just by not having so many expectations of people. And I think because you live your life and you have your certain lifestyle and you know how much you're around your phone and how much you stare at your phone and how quickly you respond to people, you expect people to do the same thing in return. And here's the thing. People just have completely different lives, completely different obligations, and just completely different habits of how often they pull their damn phone out of the pocket or not. So all across the board, to stop having so many expectations of people. Secondly, you have to learn to look at things from a case-by-case scenario and not put this blanket thing on there that you read from Cosmo magazine. Well, it said that if a guy doesn't reply back in 10 minutes, he's not that into you. No, that's not true at all. You have to look at the context and be able to give somebody the benefit of the doubt based on all their other actions and all their other behaviors and signs. If they're just busy or if they've been doing this to you since day one and they don't have a job and, they're at home smoking weed on the couch or something all day, that's what they do. For whatever reason, they're still dating the guy. Then that's maybe a little bit different when he's not getting back to you, but
that's a whole nother show.
It is. That's a whole other
I'll
show.
tell you this much. If you're dating me, you're going to get a text.
Yes, he will.
because Will lives on his damn phone. And like, there's so many things that I'm doing through social media and different stuff that I do throughout my day. If you're dating Eli, you ain't getting shit. You ain't getting shit for a minute.
Yeah, that's
right.
True.
Like,
yeah.
However, I don't necessarily, and I'm trying to use you and I as an example because it's true.
Yeah.
And it's not true just with dating, because obviously, like, you and I are not single per se.
It's
right?
habits and like,
you like that per se. Still yours fat.
It's habits and personal
it's
preference.
also with business and different things, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's just the nature of our business and the nature of like what I do for our business. A lot of it is on my damn phone and it's interacting, and there's some things where you're putting your phone down because you're on a laptop doing stuff on back ends and things like that. Like, you know, and it's just I think how we naturally
Just
gravitate
personal
to our different
preference,
stuff.
yeah,
So
like-
look, here's the deal. If you're dating me, I got you. If Will doesn't text message you back in 10 minutes, you're ghosted. Okay?
true.
Give up.
Yeah.
Because I'll be texting you. I'm probably texting you first. If you're dating Eli, you're ghosted from the get-go, but it's not a ghost town.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Eli is just like his nature and what he does. It's just different for what him and I are doing throughout our days.
Yes.
Right now, here's the deal, though. So completely different responses right there. However, I don't think that I care more about my relationship than you do. I don't think that at all. But if you're just looking at that at face value, apparently I do, Eli, because I'm just all over it. But it's not true. I genuinely think that you care just as much about your family as I do for mine. But different responses.
Dude,
so you're right.
And I just know that I get distracted so easily that if I'm in the middle of doing something on my phone even, and I get a text message from something and I know it's going to distract from what I'm doing, I'm setting a reminder to call that person back, or I'm just minimizing the little screen and I'm finishing off what I'm doing. Now, some of those things get forgotten.
And for the record, he fucking does it to me.
Yeah.
I don't get a goddamn text back right
That's
away.
true.
Matter of fact, some of my texts say, "Hey, bitch." And he's like, yeah, I got you. Shut up. Like, okay. Like, and then he gets back to me later. Like, but I wish girls could see that, because the way that you are responsive to me is probably very consistent to how you respond to Megan. Obviously, unless it's an emergency case basis, that's anomalies. We're not going there. But I just think our demeanor is a little different with our approach. But I don't think I care more for my family than you care for yours. I think it's just how we operate our business and what I'm doing, and just how attentive I am to things. You get distracted by something.
Yeah.
Me?
Big time.
I just do it right away. Like, I could literally be writing a thesis. Someone could text me, and I could bang that text out or voice text it as I'm typing.
And then you're right back to
I
your
don't miss
thing.
a beat, dude.
Yeah.
I can multitask like crazy. If anything, sometimes it makes me feel more in my flow. I got no problem. I can do it all day. For you, you compartmentalize different. You've got it like, hey, I'm writing this right now, or I'm working on this
I need to
back end
finish
for business.
something.
But to your defense, some of these things that we're doing on the back end for our business, like, I don't know if I can multitask. Like, sometimes you got to focus on what the hell you're doing, you know? So I think you're right. I think having so much expectation on something, that's where it gets hard. I do think, like, if me or whatever guy, if they can't get back to you right away, like, let's say you text them that next day and they don't get back to you, and like maybe that evening they get back to you, I'm going to be talking to you about my schedule. Not as like a jerk, but let's say like you text me at 10 in the morning. Hey, had a great time, yada, yada. And you and I are just slammed with accountability meetings, and we've got some other stuff. And then maybe something comes up on a deal and we're putting out fires because we're closing tomorrow. Some shit happened. And I'm literally, because there are times where I'm not looking at my phone, or if I am, I'm on the phone making phone calls, and you're just not going to hear from me. That night, when I slow down myself, even if it's, and here's where I think guys could be better, unless they're just ghosting you and then they're just not worth your time. Even if it's 10 o'clock at night, I'm going to text you. And I'm going to say, hey, listen, I'm super sorry it's so late. Here's how my day went. You know, here's how my days typically go. So if you don't hear from me like at 10 a.m., you know, and typically I'm off by like 7 p.m. Today went a little crazy. I know it's 10. I hope you're sleeping well. I at least just wanted to send you this text message so you knew I was thinking about you, versus letting it go to that next day. And I think a girl, whether she's sleeping or not, if that's the earliest you can get back to her, I think she'll respect that. You know, and again, in that text message, I'm still explaining, hey, here's how my days kind of go. So if you don't hear from me, I would really hate for you to get the wrong impression. And I'm going to speak like that if I care about you, because I don't want to like lose that opportunity with you.
Yes.
If you're cool, but it ain't like that, I don't know. But then again, I don't know if I'm going on dates if you ain't like that.
Well, and this is why
So-
not having expectations is so important. And based on the person's previous actions and behaviors, you need to give benefit of the doubt when possible, because here's the thing. Will's going to have that amazing response for you, provided after your text didn't get replied to in the first 10 minutes, you didn't follow up with, oh, so you're not responding to me? Oh, I guess I'm just not that important to you. Oh, you're probably out with some other girl. And then it just
Oh,
gets
shit.
progressively worse until he's finally able to look at his phone at 10 o'clock at night. You're going to get a different response from him than what he just said.
I'm going to go, hey, you're crazy. Not going to lie. Kind of like it. Okay. Here's how, you know.
Don't tempt him, bro. Don't
that's
tempt
me.
him.
That's me. And hey, listen, girls that are out there, if you don't think Kate is a little rough around the edges,
Yeah.
if you don't think pretty little innocent Kate
Yeah.
has got some sharpness there, you're out of your mind. It takes a lot to keep me entertained, buddy.
but
I need to be with someone who I think might kill me
Yeah.
a little bit.
A little bit.
Not,
Like they could. Not that they might,
but
but
only
they
when
could.
I see it coming. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. She's gonna kill me. If I'm just like being me and everything's cool and she wants to kill me because I'm at work, that's different. I'm not
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
that. But I probably would make a joke. I tend to be super forgiving. If a girl just like let the floodgates open because I wasn't texting her all day and I don't get to my phone until 9 o'clock at night, you know, like I'm gonna go, hey, a little crazy, all good. I kind of like it. However, listen, I'm sorry I couldn't get back to you. Here's how my days go. So if you don't hear from me, here's why. I know it's super late. I hope you're sleeping well, you know, and if this is something that you still want to pursue, I'd love to. I just got to have you understand my schedule. That's me giving you benefit of doubt that you only have a little bit of crazy.
You're a nice
Cool.
dude.
Well, but I'm also forgiving of that circumstance. And I also know, like, hey, you know what? Maybe she's like that because she's been fucked over so many times and she just happens to like let the floodgate open on the wrong guy. And we talked about this in the first episode. Even when I have an opportunity to be right and like slam it home to someone, why? Maybe just being forgiving and going, hey, I get it. I'm sure there's a lot of idiots. I get it. But listen, I'm not that idiot. Here's how my day went. This is literally the first time I had an opportunity to get back to you. And I'm super sorry I didn't explain this earlier. And if you'd still like to pursue something, hey, that's great. I'd love that. But I got to have you understand my schedule.
You're an
Like
awesome
that
dude. Yeah.
but that can also help me gain a lot of progress with someone.
Yeah.
Now, am I taking a risk as a guy? Yeah. Because here's the deal. Maybe that's just her, okay? But guess what? Just like I told you about guys ghosting you and they come back and make up for it, if that's their character flaw, they're going to ghost you again and then
Yeah.
just be done with it. So
That's true.
Am I taking a risk by maybe going on a couple more dates with the girl just for her to act all crazy again? Maybe.
But then you know.
But I'm also risking the reward of maybe she's just been fucked over so many times, she didn't know how else to react and didn't put much thought into it. She just let me have it because I'm like every other asshole. But because I came and I was nice and I articulated and I apologized for not explaining it sooner and I still had that opportunity, right? Like, I think that's super huge. Now, if she shows that side of her again a week, okay, so I wasted a week. And if she shows it again, then I'm just done.
Yeah.
But I think with that scenario, the risk is worth the reward to be a gentleman about it and maybe prove a girl wrong when she's been right so many times because, again, understand the playing field. Dating is so just frustrating nowadays. If you can play that gamble right and even when you have an opportunity to be right and slam it to her, you don't, and you come out and you prove her wrong, man, you could really gain some progress. And look, maybe that's a super, super funny story down the road when you guys are married. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm okay to take that risk, but I also know that like I'm doing my part, you know. But girls that are out there, understand, like we got friends that are contractors. They just don't even pick up their phone.
They got to turn it in. Like, you look
Turn
at
it
like,
in.
yeah, you got like our DOD
Or
clients.
DOD clients, or like guys that are general contractors
Yes,
that
yes,
are
yes.
out like building houses.
They're covered in mud all day.
Yeah, and they're building a house or they're doing reframework. Like if they pick up their phone every 5 minutes, they're not going to get that job done and they don't get paid. So I do think there should be a little bit more patience from the female side. But I also think, hey, guys could be taking a little bit more initiative as far as that communication on how your days go. And
Yeah.
just making a point when your day does come to an end that you're at least returning a text message, or you say, hey, you know, like if I hadn't had a text from a girl in 24 hours, I'm not mad at her. And when I get done with my day that night, I'm probably going to say, hey, I hope your day went well. I had a great time the other night. If that's something that you want to continue, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, like, hey, get some rest. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And then if I don't hear back from you,
Then you know.
I'm all good, man.
then you
Don't
know.
get emotional about
Then
it.
you know.
100%.
All right. So here's a question.
Is this a new one that just popped up? You had a smile on your face.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I'm just happy to see you. That's all.
Oh, you're a sweet pie.
Can guys tell when you are insecure, even if on the outside your exterior is not? Oh God, I'm fucking up this question. I'm sorry, whoever has this.
So start it over.
Can guys tell you're insecure even if on the outside you appear very put together?
I don't know.
You appear confident. You're put together. Can
I
guys
think
sense
it-
insecurity?
Well, I consider myself pretty emotionally intelligent. I think that's one of my strengths. And I think I wish that was a little bit more defined, like insecure physically, insecure
Inside.
in a crowd.
Yeah. So
inside.
So just
but what's making you insecure inside? How you look? Or maybe like you're super confident how you look, but you're just an introvert and you hate crowds, and your stupid girlfriend's dragged you out to some club
let's
downtown
say all
Denver.
of the above. Yeah, let's say all of the above.
I don't know. Man, that's a good question, because I do consider myself pretty emotionally intelligent, but I think I think guys sense something, and they might just get turned off by it. I think like maybe like if you're coming off insecure, because so if guys are out and they're kind of like thinking you're cute or they're into you, they're going to be looking at your reaction toward them.
Right.
So if you're coming off insecure, I don't think a guy knows like, she super digs me. She like if you saw a girl acting uncomfortable, Eli, like hypothetically here, if you and I were single and we're hanging out at View House or wherever we're at, some girl's off in the corner and she's like super quiet or just acting a certain way, and like I looked at her and then like, hey bro, that girl's super into me. She's just insecure. I think he would smack me in the fucking face. No, bro. I think she's trying to crawl into that wall because you keep staring at her.
Yes.
So I think to answer the question the best that I can, if I'm answering, like if I'm picturing myself being single and a girl's acting what I would assume to be insecure, like I'm assuming like I'm picking up on something, but I'm probably correlating it to like you're just not that into me.
And it probably
versus,
comes off
oh
as,
yeah, you super like I can't imagine going, yeah, you super like me.
Right.
You're just insecure. Like,
Right.
oh God,
Yeah.
that's another shirt.
I
We
think,
should put that on a
I
shirt.
think it comes back to the resting bitch face thing, like Will said.
Yeah.
If you're feeling insecure, you're definitely showing it somehow. Even if you have your makeup on and your dress is hot and all this stuff, if you're feeling insecure, you're probably showing it somehow. So my recommendation is find out what you're insecure about, and then if it's the environment that you're insecure in, change your environment.
Don't go.
Yeah, don't go. Do
If your thing
something
is not
else.
going downtown and drinking because you don't like it, like
Don't do it.
don't do it. And you know what? And obviously this is centuries ago because you and I are out of the dating world. One that I picked up on a lot. In fact, you can help me answer this. So get your mic ready over there, big dog. But one that I picked up on all the time that I did identify as insecurity were girls that were like acting overly rambunctious.
Oh,
like
God.
overly entertaining,
Yeah.
overly having fun, overly drinking, overly
Challenging guys
friendly,
to drinking contests.
or not even talking to guys, just with their girlfriends,
Yep,
but
yep.
just overly laughing and overly like enjoying their girls. It's like when you see that, you're like, hey, you're on a fallback night and you're in a lot of pain and you're gonna go do a lot of dumb shit, or you are super uncomfortable, so you're trying to like overly desensitize yourself by like overly exposing yourself to that. I don't even know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to say is you're overly exposing yourself to that element.
Yeah, you're overcompensating. Yeah.
Overly compensating.
yeah.
Like I've seen that before, and those things do come off as insecure, and they're a super turn off.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's the thing. If you're
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute.
You took it. You were
Fat's gonna.
fat. We got fat. All right. What's fat's question?
Fat, do you concur with that, or is there anything that you see in your dating realm that comes off where you can identify a girl being insecure?
No.
No?
I think I agree with you.
You've seen
I've
the girls like I'm
seen-
talking about
yeah.
that just overindulge, overly expose themselves, and well, not expose physically, overexpose themselves.
No, we all
to a
know that girl.
situation.
We all know the girl you're talking about.
Yeah.
We've all seen her out, and then she's usually crying on the sidewalk at 2 a.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But here's
That's that girl.
but girls in your defense, guys, the guys can do that too. But I think girls, if you're insecure, if you're acting that way, I get super concerned for you, because there might be idiot guys that are like, hey, she's a train wreck. I'm gonna go introduce myself to that.
Yeah.
And because you're overly out there, like maybe you make a bad decision. And I'm not, look, we're all adults. You make the decisions you make and these are your fault. However, there are times where girls are acting out and girls are vulnerable to situations and they're overly exposing themselves and overly having fun and maybe getting a little bit too drunk, and you end up in some dude's car. And that guy knows exactly
that's for
what
real.
scenario you're in. Like, she looks like a train wreck. Hi, how are you? And they can't wait to introduce themselves to you because they think like that's an opportunity for themselves. So on a serious note, that's where I get concerned for girls that are in that realm and they're exposing themselves to the public. Is like, look, there are people, men and women, but a lot of times men, that are just predators to that scenario. And you got to be super careful, right?
you
Super
do.
careful.
Well, and I think, coming back to why you're insecure. So I'm going to use a scenario in this situation that maybe it's your dress or your look or your makeup, or you're just out at the fancy bar. one thing I want to stress to girls is do not overestimate what a guy thinks is attractive, because you don't need to be that Instagram model for us to think you're attractive. If you're uncomfortable because you're wearing 6-inch heels and you don't normally, and you're wearing all this makeup and you don't normally, but you think you need to do that to attract a guy,
No.
I'm telling you, if you went to that same bar and wore your Chuck Taylors and your skinny jeans and your flannel shirt with a white V-neck underneath.
Is that your wife's shirt?
No.
Your
Yeah,
medium?
right. But if you just went there in your element and wore what you normally do that makes you feel comfortable, and now you don't have resting bitch face because you're not worried about staying up on your heels. You're
Or
not worried
insecure
about
how you look.
sexy you look or not, or how that other girl next to you. Do not, all you girls end up looking the same anyway. You know, back in the day, back in the day.
Can you timestamp that?
God, I can't
All
believe
you
I said
girls look the same anyway.
They do, man.
Fat is just over here laughing his butt off.
Dude, it's true. Like you go on Instagram and it's like all the girls are doing their makeup the same way. They're all wearing the same shit.
That
And
should
it's
be a
like,
shirt too. By the way, if you guys keep hearing us talk about, oh, that's a shirt. Elon and I have a shirt company.
we have a shirt list, yeah.
of quotes that should be on the shirts. But it's true. Like nice butt. Now what?
Yeah, thank you.
Like,
right.
I'm not saying girls on Instagram and girls in Denver don't have nice asses. Hey, cool. That's like me expecting Kate to say there's no good looking guys in Denver.
Yes.
Yeah, a ton, probably. Right? Like, she better not say it to my face. No, I'm kidding. But now what? Like, there's so much more to like our relationship beyond me just being the most gorgeous guy for her. Okay, like there's things that she enjoys about me. There's things that I enjoy about her. And like, are there other girls out there with like nice butts? Yeah, cool. Now what? And I think especially like in the dating world, yeah, a lot of guys get distracted and because we're idiots and you're looking at all the physicals and you're swiping. Well, girls are allowing it. Girls are allowing guys to serial date. Girls are doing the same thing. So you're kind of a product of your own environment. If you're just exposed to dating sites, you're a product of that environment. And like, that's just the nature of the beast with how that goes. So if you want to be, put into an environment where it's the nice butt, now what? Like, you've got to be able to just meet people in a different realm.
Yeah.
Or gamble, because maybe 1 in a million people on those sites are actually legit that meet people. I've got a couple friends that are married off of those sites. They're paid. They're not Bumble. So just full disclosure, not sponsored by anyone here, but I've got friends that met on Match.com. Both of them are married. So I don't know, but maybe paid sites are better because people are actually putting some of their own money and time into something versus like these swipe rights that are just super easy. I think it's serial dating. And what do you expect a guy to be doing on there? I think he's in that phase of thirsty ass hoes and girls that are on that site. Why are you on that site, but then you want something different out of it? It doesn't work like that. If you don't like football players, don't go to football practice to date dudes.
Or at least change your
just can't.
expectations. Just don't set the expectations that you set on a platform like that.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Again, like the likelihood, the needle in the haystack. Yep, I'm not going to say that it's not there. I don't want to say people from Bumble haven't gotten married. Right?
We had some clients that did.
Off Bumble?
Yeah.
It was early Bumble.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
actually
like
think it was
Bumble
Tinder.
now.
I think it was Tinder.
Yeah, but it was early, dude. It wasn't
don't know
like it
when
is
it was,
now.
but
I'm speculating.
yeah.
But again, I think there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but-
I think the insecurity, I think you're right. Like just being comfortable in your own skin and going out and doing what you love.
Yeah.
And look, if you're not used to wearing heels and you want to go out and do that, we're just going to make fun of how you walk in
Right.
heels. Or unless it's required, if you're at a wedding, that's
And
different.
here's
we're getting
the thing.
stuck in the weeds.
It's
but-
the same reason Will and I don't wear suits in real estate.
or heels.
Don't wear suits or heels in real estate. Right now, anyway, it's just not who we are. And if I'm so worried about my damn suit because it's not who I am, and then I'm like, the sleeve's too long, I need to get this tailored, but it's all wrinkled, and I'm too focused, and I can't actually focus on my client and doing a good job and presenting, the offer the best that I can for them. I'm too worried about my damn self. So when you're out dating, it's the same thing. Just be authentic, be who you are, and chances are you're going to be a lot more comfortable. And newsflash, guys don't give a shit what you're wearing. If you're a cool chick and you can have some fun and relax a little bit and hang out with the guys sometimes, that's all we really need. That's true.
100%.
That's all we really need.
Now, full disclosure, Eli's speaking for all men here.
Yes, I am.
I'm just trying to speak from my own perception the best that I can.
That's funny.
No, I think it's great advice. I think it is nice when girls can just kind of cut loose a little bit and just relax and enjoy it, and and be attractive and be feminine, but also like just be super cool with hanging out with the guys sometimes, or like when you go out with your guy, not having to like hang on his arm or do all these certain things. Like I remember, man, she's probably gonna kill me for telling this story, but it's actually a compliment there. But we went to a UFC fight not too long ago. I had an old friend of mine that was fighting. He was the main event. I think he was the main event or he was the co-main event. And I got some tickets. Cool. Like he threw me some, and he had a box, whereas all of his friends and family were gonna be. I'm like, nah, man, I don't really want a box. And he's like, cool. Let me see if I can get some more. And I'm like, cool. So we get some so he throws me some more tickets, and it's like right behind the Fox box. So we're club level. It's like super cool little spot, but it's like right where that Fox box is. And I had no idea, full disclosure, right? But so my and I'm gonna keep this super neutral here, but my ex was there for work. Anyway,
in the Fox box.
Let's not get detailed.
Okay,
Eli. We're just gonna leave it be.
Okay, so Fox
she was
box,
there, and we're probably I don't know, like we're 20 feet from her. I don't know, and she had never like seen me with someone new, and I hadn't seen her in years in the first place. It was all good. It was no big deal, but credit to Kate, because when we went, like, man, she was in her chucks and her jeans, and we were hanging out, enjoying the fights, and like, yeah, there's a couple look backs of, I think she thought it was like, what do you call it when a girl like is like looking at a new girl, like
sizing her up a little bit.
Yeah. She had a different word for it. I'm sure she can clarify. I thought it was more curiosity.
Which, again, human nature, right? Especially with exes. Like,
I'm giving benefit of doubt. In case, like, no, that's not what. And again, to girls' defense, girls speak girls.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we know what guys are doing. You ever have that? Like, hey, I speak guy.
Yep.
That fucking guy is doing this. No, he's just being nice. No, he's not. He doesn't push your car home when you break down 10 blocks down the road because he's a nice guy. No, he doesn't. Like, he's just a nice guy. No, stop it.
You're right.
So we're there. But anyway, long story short, I'm going to keep it super vague, but to Kate's defense, like, she didn't hang all over me. She didn't try to kiss me every like 5 seconds when she thought she was getting a look. She was just super chill, super comfortable in our relationship and confident, like just kind of like let something happen, but didn't react. Perfect, because there wasn't any drama and I don't have any desire, and it was all good. And it's the same thing, like if you do go out with your guy, like let's say you're going to go out to a ball game, you don't necessarily like
need to show
have to be all over
that
them
you're together.
Yeah. So sometimes just like actually taking a step back a little bit and liking each other, not just being in love, but liking each other and enjoying something for what it is, and having conversations and actually watching it versus like smooching the whole time or whatever it may be. Like, I think that's when you really start to get to know one another. And there is some super attractiveness to a girl that can be confident, and she's not showing that she's confident with her fucking nose in the air. She's just confident. She's got some trust in you, and she can go and she can, just go out and enjoy an element. I think it's a super strength. Yeah.
Last question. First date.
Oh, shit.
Just grab some drinks and an appetizer, full-blown dinner. What do you think?
Any. Yeah, I don't want to put any rule on that. Like I would hate for, I think everyone's different. Like if I'm trying to like look back at when I was single before in life and when I was meeting, my ex-girlfriends or whatever for the first time, and I'm thinking of like a first date, like they're all different, and some of them were neutral, some of them were big, all unique to that situation. So I would hate to put a label on that. I think it's just some phone calls and text messages and you're having a good time and there's some communication, and, like while you're talking, you happen to like mention that, I don't know, maybe he's like, he was at a Rockies game or something and you're like, oh my God, Rocky Dogs are my favorite. And he remembers that. And then a couple weeks later or a week later when you guys decide to go on a date, like you go sit rock pile at a Rockies game right next to where there's Rocky Dogs. Super neutral date, but there was some thought behind it because you like Rocky Dogs. So you got your Rocky Dog for the first date. That's super adorable, super cute, shows he's paying attention. Or, like maybe it's a little bit more fancy because you both work in DTC and he takes you to Shanahan's. I don't know. Like, I think it's all predicated upon you and that person's ability to communicate and have a conversation and just see where that kind of thing goes.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put any expectation that if he doesn't buy you a Rocky Dog and he didn't listen and your first date was lunch while you guys are both on a lunch break because you're both super busy with your careers, I think the thought of him making time is still sweet. So I don't think if he doesn't do what I just mentioned, I don't think it's anything bad. And on the flip side, if it's not super fancy, and out of this world, I don't think that's bad either. I think sometimes just making time for one another to actually get face to face, like I think the fancy comes.
Yeah.
I think the listening and the unique little, thoughtful stuff. Because here's the deal too, man. Even being a little bit too thoughtful and like, hey, you said this one time. Out of all the text messages and conversations we've ever had, one time you mentioned Rocky Dog, so I took you for one. You might be like, oh, Jesus, dude, we're not married. Jesus, back up. Are you already in love with me? Like, I could see a girl saying that too. Like, hold on, bro.
Yeah.
You're already whipped.
Yeah.
And I just met you. Like, so I don't know. I think it all just kind of comes down to your level of communication. But what I do think is important is when people are making time for it, when they're setting aside time and they're not super busy, right? Like, hey, I've only got an hour. I don't like that. I'm not saying it's inappropriate. I like setting aside time where I've got the rest of my evening to share with you. So that means if we go on a date for an hour and you're ready to go home after that, cool. And if we end up staying for 2 or 3 hours because the conversation was phenomenal and we get a couple more bottles of wine and have a great time and don't drive home, right? Like drinking and driving, you got that? I think that's great. So I think for me, I think what is nice about it, regardless of whether it's fancy or not fancy, I think if it's a first date, I think just setting aside time to allow that date to bloom, whether it blooms and it's only an hour or that it blooms for the entire night. And like I said, the conversation was so phenomenal, you didn't want it to end. It doesn't have to end because you don't have anything for the rest of your evening and you allocated that time for her. I think that's super caring to just put yourself in the environment where, hey, this can kind of go wherever it goes. And if it goes beyond and we have a great time and we engage, I want to capitalize on that. You know, so even though like the lunch thing can still be sweet and they're making time for you, it's really hard to like go to lunch, especially on like a work day because you're still answering your phone or you got to get back at a certain time. So if I were to answer this the best that I could without trying to put a specific date, or I think the time allotted to allow that to just brew as you get to know each other, I think that's important.
I think girls don't overthink this. This is an area where a lot of girls overthink, and the fact that a guy did one thing with you means you're less important than another. For me, the face to face and just the face to face and just making time for each other, that's the important part. Whatever the activity is behind that, to me, doesn't really matter.
Agreed.
And that's where, I mean, going for a walk around Wash Park to me is just as valuable as a super fancy dinner on a Saturday night.
So let me kind of like add to that a little bit because I think you agree with me. So just going for a walk in Wash Park. Yep, I agree. But also not just having 45 minutes or not just having an hour because you got to get home.
We're going to get ice cream afterward and then something else comes up in conversation and then we're going to, oh, you like doing that? Well, fuck it. Let's go right now. I love that place too.
Because you've allotted the time in that evening to like, look, if it's an hour or 5 hours, like my evening is for you. And we can hang out as much as you like.
That's what I would do.
And then look, if she doesn't want to hang out past an hour, like, all right, I'm going to go get 2 servings of ice cream. I'm going to call Fat. I'm going to say, Fat, I got rejected. You want some ice cream? He's going to be like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yes. What kind of ice cream?
Whatever you want, bro. You'll be my date at that point.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So Fat's my fallback, right? He's going to help me. Like he's going to pat my fanny when I get rejected, and then it's all good. But I would hate for someone to start having a great vibe with me or great energy, and then I got to leave. I just would hate that. So if you're in like, well, I just don't have time. Like, wait 2 days. You're going to have time, but I would much rather keep phone calls going and keep text messages and having a good time. And if I got to wait till Sunday or Monday or Saturday or whatever it is because I don't have time like that weeknight, okay, well then maybe you wait a day or two, but at least when you do, like you care and so again, I agree. I don't think it's the activity that's so important. I think it's just allowing for that time.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
And, you know, if you're, like Will said, if you're in such a rush and you're just trying to go, hey, all I have time is for lunch. Yeah, just wait, because here's the thing. That could be a great person, but if they don't get a chance to show that over that 45-minute lunch that you've allowed for them, then you're going to think something else of them, and you should have just been patient so you could
and just roll with it. Like, I'm going to call Kate out because she threw me to the wolves. Bro, our first date, it was just one-on-one, right? Okay. Like, just her and I, we ended up like, I can't remember like if we grabbed food or not, but we ended up just hanging out in my truck, man, and just having a great talk and hanging out. And but she had plans with her friends that night. And I'm like, all right, well, but she wanted to meet up. So I'm not going to, look, dude, she's super fine. I'm not going to say, don't get it twisted here. I'm going to say yes. So I said yes. And so.
And if it's a first date, girls a lot of times will kind of have that
They do that on purpose.
Yeah, they do.
Oh, they do. Girls, you do that on purpose. And, so we had a great time, and then she was going to see her friends, you know, like that night. But and Kate, like she's a little bit more conservative, I guess you could say. Like she's just not like a dater, you know. So like, and she didn't have a guy around. It wasn't the girl. And I'm not against girls that date. Don't take this the wrong way. I'm just kind of prefacing for the story. That's just not who Kate was. So when she started talking about me to her friends when they were out at dinner. But then they were going to go fish for like happy hour or not happy hour. It was like nighttime by then. They were going out after dinner. Well, her friends are like, wait, what? You're talking to a guy? Who's this fucking guy? Yeah. Who got you to open your mouth about it? We got to meet this dude. So, Fat, I ended up meeting a lot of Fat's friends because there's a lot of mutual friends there, believe it or not. But
he's saying they're all Asians.
I did not. Yeah. They are. Hold on. They are. That's not what I meant, Fat. You're still my fallback, right?
Still getting me ice cream, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Asians, cool.
Yeah, so
continue.
So she's like, hey, they want to meet you, but like, I don't know. Like, I hope I'm not like putting you on the spot. I'm like, yeah,
This was date one?
Yeah.
Damn.
Date one.
Damn.
And I'm like, yeah, you're super putting me on the spot, but all good. And because she didn't date a lot and because of that side, like I think I understood it. I'm like, look, if I can go be a champ and just meet some of the friends and put a smiley face on and but I also understood like, look, they're gonna try to embarrass her or say something silly, or she might be acting out a little bit because she's never just like had a guy around like that. So I also knew the element I was getting myself into, and yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. It went from like, so yeah, it was a ton of Asian girls hanging out, right? Like it went from like a couple of them that had like some good engaging conversations and that were just interested in me and like, hey, so who are you? What's your story? And cool, right? It went from that to like the other friend that's like, just so you know, Mara is amazing. Okay. And you better not hurt my friend. Or I'll fucking kill you.
Oh God, I hate that conversation.
Dude,
not even like on date one though. Oh,
I think it. Yeah. Well, was she there date one or it might have been date two? Because I was at Dave and Buster's with all your other friends.
Either way,
they're actually your friends. I'm not being Asian racist right now. All the people I saw at Dave and Buster's that night are actually a lot of your friends.
Either way, I hate that conversation.
Well, they have a lot of mutual friends, so you were being racist. I was actually being literal. They're a lot of his friends.
All right.
But it's funny because the girl that said that, she's like one of my favorite friends that Kate has. But when she said that, dude, I just laughed it off and I go, so when she said to me, I go, so you're the asshole friend. Nice to meet you. And she laughed and she's, and she got it. She laughed, had a good time. But yeah, I kind of got thrown to the wolves. I don't know if that's for every guy. I would say guys that are out there, like if a girl is really into you, I guess my thing is like, I was into her. Mm-hmm. We had a ton of like text messages and phone calls before we ever met. And then we did make time to meet, even though it was last second and probably could have been planned better. It wasn't. But I really appreciated that she was into me. So then when she's talking to her friends about me, it's like, she's like, I just don't bring guys around. I don't this, I don't that. And like, but she's talking to me to a point where friends are like, what? Yeah. Well, now we got to meet him because we didn't think there was any guy on this planet for you. I did kind of want to be a champ. Yeah. Like I did want to I was into her. So I wanted to go, put my tough guy shirt on and just go take the banter, take the friends that tell me not to hurt her and take the friends that are asking about my life and that are curious. And, Kate said a couple of jokes there and she was a little shy and bashful that night. But I was kind of proud to go do that. I wouldn't suggest that for all guys. I think I just do pretty well in social environments, but no, it was a lot of fun. And I think, again, some of this just boils down to how much effort do you want to give someone? And I really dug her, man. I was reading a damn blog, so it was good to kind of champion up. And just like I talk about, if a girl blows me up during my day and I can forgive that and go, hey, I get it. And I know how dating is going. And here's how my day went. I'm super sorry I didn't explain that prior, but here's kind of how my day goes. And if you don't hear from me throughout my day, here's why, but I'm sorry. I could have explained that more. Now she feels bad for going off on me. Yeah. And if she's not crazy, she's just over the dating world and maybe kind of took it out on me. But I have that response, man, that might be a super win for a great relationship. And even though I had a point to be right, I didn't choose to be right. I chose to be progressive. That could be a super bet. So same thing with Kate. You go and you put yourself in that element. You're going to take the girls that tell you not to be an asshole and don't hurt her. I'll kill you. And yeah, you could get personal about that. You can get defensive or you can be shut down or you can just kind of be a champion in that scenario and just go roll with the punches and understand none of it's that serious or just getting to know you. But the fact that you're even willing to walk down that gauntlet, it says a lot. And I think it could be a big win for you. It does kind of boil down to how much effort you want to give one another, male and female. But in addition to giving all of that effort to one another, you also just have to gauge expectations and just also understand that just because something like that's not happening doesn't necessarily mean that it's terminal. Right.
So, let's summarize this all up.
Yeah.
Questions are done.
What? Man,
questions are done. You got a few last words here?
Well, my biggest thing was if guys can afford going on dates. Yep, we're like, hey, But in addition to that, it's deeper of why and why are you going on so many dates that you can't afford? Maybe you should. There are guys out there and girls. Dating can be so accessible now. I think we don't get our shit together in our life. I think we hide from it and we go date because we think someone's gonna pull us out of that or save us from that or I'm gonna meet the right girl and it's gonna be so motivating that I just get my life together. No, you're actually wasting people's time. However, au contraire, girls, sometimes you ain't shit.
Yes.
And listen, I love you. Eli and I are team girl, so I'm saying this out of love. sometimes you ain't shit. Sometimes girls get so toxic towards men, and everything they do is wrong, or every expectation is wrong, or they have an excuse for every single little thing, and every single guy you've met is at fault for something, and you have a rebuttal and everything for something. Like, here's the deal. The circle of people you're putting around yourself, they're not shit. And you know what? If there's an upper echelon of people that are just more productive and more mature and whatever it may be, and you're not around that, well, maybe you ain't shit.
Yeah.
And like, I really want to express that because, look, you got a cute butt. Now what?
Well, and
but who are you as a person, and who are you putting yourself around?
Yes.
Because look, if you are genuine and organic to the process of every guy's wrong, and it's never been your fault, and and you have no accountability to anything, and it is 100% just falling on men or dirtbags. Okay, I'm not going to call you a liar. Like, if that's what you believe, fine. But what I am going to say is, you really need to start questioning what you're putting yourself around, because not every guy's a dirtball.
Yes.
Okay, but here's the deal. There are some guys that are just serial dating. I get it. But then there's also some good guys out there that are not going to put up with your shit. Right. And a lot of the guys and sometimes, especially in dating, right, because it is hard out there. If you're a successful guy with a career and you're mature and you got your shit together and you treat people well, you're kind of a hot commodity. So guys don't have to put up with your shit. There are 10 other girls just as pretty as you that are not dramatic that maybe they're going to expose themselves to. And while you're getting emotional about some type of rejection or ghosting because you acted inappropriate, but you're too busy trying to blame him for the ghosting, he's already moved on. Yeah. He's already on to someone that's hopefully more productive for him. But there is that exception there. And as much as we're team girl, and I do think that a lot of things that girls act out on are a reaction to guys being idiots a lot. So not taking myself off of team girl, I get it. However, like, out of love, I need you girls to understand, hey, a lot of you ain't shit.
And when Will says you ain't shit, he's not talking about you're a loser. You could have a great job, a great car, you've got money in the bank. He's talking about who you are as a person and the value that you bring to a relationship, and the other intangible things, like how empathetic are you? What expectations do you have? Are you giving people the benefit of the doubt? How Will has those conversations about, hey, if I have a girl, go a little crazy on me and she's freaking out about text messages, I'm not telling her to peace out right away.
No.
I'm having the common courtesy to reply this way. I know there's girls that are going to listen to this and say, yeah, we're those guys. Like, yeah, guys, you need to be like that. Flip side, you also need to be like that.
Flip side, they also need to be like that. And girls, you got to understand, like, hypothetically, if you were the one that texted me that because you've had it with dating, and so I end up taking the brunt of it, and I happen to be patient enough to caring enough to understand that element, and for whatever reason, I think you're better than that. So I'm valuing you more. So I'm giving you benefit of doubt to give that response. But understand the flip side, just as much as you're mad or you're acting out at dating and you took it out on me, there might be guys that maybe did the response I did for the first 10 girls. And now he's just over it. Now you're the 12th or 11th girl that's blowing up on him for some reason, and he's just over it. So he is that guy. He just no longer has enough fuel in the tank to even like try to give you that patience, because every time he's given a girl benefit of doubt and had that explanatory text message and whatever it may be, it always backfired on him. And now he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
But this is the hard part about dating. This is why benefit of doubt has to go there, because understanding one another's perceptions and understanding context on one another's lives, you just don't have it at that point. And doing your best to give benefit of doubt. So doing your best not to act out. Correct. So you're not reliant upon me having enough fuel to be patient for you.
Yes.
Because I'm human as well. As much as I try to pride myself on being a gentleman, look, if I were dating out there right now, that would be my text message. However, I don't know for how many of you, there might come a point where I'm just like, hey, if some girl thinks it's acceptable to let loose on me like that when they don't even know me, but they have enough common sense to understand what I do for a living because we went on a date and I explained it, and you're still going banana sandwich on me after a day like that, look, you know what? After the 10th girl, I just don't have the patience for it, because 10 out of 10 I gave patience to, and it still didn't work out. So maybe I think it's a character flaw in you that you even allow yourself to behave like that after you've known me for a day. It's a hard one. So you're right, man. Look, well, and I'm right. Sometimes, girls, you ain't shit. It's not about your independence and your career and how much money you make and, hey, I can take care of myself. Cool. That has nothing to do with compatibility. And taking care of yourself has nothing to do with companionship. And I think that's where both sexes miss it.
Yes.
And I think it needs more work.
And not being so quick to jump to conclusions and write people off. Like that kind of goes on what we're saying. But again, give people a chance. Try and look at the bigger picture as far as who they are. Don't become overwhelming. And guess what? Like, if you have something good with somebody, no relationships are perfect. They all take work. Bro. They all take some sort of sacrifice on your behalf and some sort of compromise.
100%.
Every single one, guys. And if you're unwilling to do that right out of the gate, what's going to happen 2, 5, 10 years down the road.
And a breath of fresh air. I'm going to leave it at this. Listen, girls, guys and girls, but we're talking for girls today. Listen, girls, if you're worried about a guy ghosting you and then having some bullshit excuse and, well, I don't want to forgive him because he ghosted me for 2 days and then texted me back, or whatever it is, ghosting or other things, I promise you this. That's a character flaw, right? Like that type of like disconnect in communication. He's hiding something. He's dating someone else. He's serial dating, whatever it is. When men have character flaws, I promise you they will resurface. You don't have to overreact because you might miss out on a good guy that's telling you the truth.
Yes.
But if you allow a process to take its course, yeah, you might go a little bit longer with someone and maybe you waste a week or whatever you're thinking, but you could also find the right one and be patient and you bet right. And now you've got a good one. So being so cutthroat and just understanding, like, here's your breath of fresh air. If it's a character flaw, you don't have to always just, like, if you identify it the first time, you don't got to be cutthroat because the first time you catch what you think is a character flaw, it could actually be circumstantial.
Yes.
And maybe ironically, he had some circumstances while meeting you that just didn't play in his benefit. And yeah, he does need to get out of jail free card from you. So you're never going to know on that first one. So even if you're identifying something for the first time as a quote unquote character flaw, maybe it's circumstantial. Give it some time because I promise you this. If it's a character flaw, it resurfaces.
Yes.
If it's circumstantial, they are so few and far between, it's not even funny. Allow the process to happen so you can see if it's circumstantial or you can see if it resurfaces and it's a character flaw.
Patience.
And then you act.
Just be patient.
Be quiet, but carry a big stick.
Yeah,
You
just
know
be
what I'm saying?
patient. Just be patient with people.
Absolutely.
That's it, man.
Happy Friday.
That's it. Happy Friday, guys.
Ladies, we love you.
Again, leave us your comments if you have any feedback on this.
Absolutely.
We'll be doing the flip side, the questions guys have for girls next month.
Guys, we got your back. Don't
Yep,
worry.
We got you.
Out.